Live from Thursday. It's a new show, Jim. Today, you were about to say it, weren't you? About to say
Yep.
the name of this. I knew it. I knew it.
Yes, I was.
Folks.
Well, when you lead me to that, whatever.
Yeah. Stay tuned for the second half of the show. Guess what? Denice Gary-Pandol, former U.S. Senatorial Candidate out of California, is back with us to tell us what happened during that race, what didn't happen during that race in the primary out in California, who she's putting her support behind, and also what'll happen in the future, according to her, what needs to happen. Really stay tuned for that. It's great. About 30 minutes. She's wonderful. Before that, got a couple stories to go over. One of them, illegal deprived of his Second Amendment rights. I almost can't say it without laughing. And then a story that I'm just going to headline by saying guilty, but not guilty. We'll get into those. Plus a couple videos, things we want to show you. Trump's bloodbath things. We'll continue with that. So much more, Jim, on another wonderful, exciting, commercial-free, and I'll get into that in a minute, show of what?
Two guys, one coup.
Yep.
Welcome to the Two Guys, One Coup podcast with Dale and Jim, where the truth matters and progressives' feelings don't. We bring you the facts from the perspective of two average, everyday guys who will never apologize for being America first, for adhering to our great Constitution, and for saluting the flag that our brothers and sisters have fought and died for. And now, here's Dale and Jim.
Jim, another comment. Let's get right to the commercial thing. Another comment on a Facebook post. I don't know if you saw it, didn't see it.
Yeah.
Said two guys, one coup equals 5 commercials. I'm like, what is going on? You're the second one. Is anybody out there? Has anybody mentioned to you at all about all these commercials? What are they talking about? I asked the guys, please explain. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I know if I go to play the video at times, there's an ad or two before, which is not us. We're not getting paid by
that has to be
Jardian or whatever ad is out there.
Well, ours would be the little blue pill, but
yeah, that's true. The little blue. Viagra wants to sponsor us,
but
we're experts.
No, because I listened to. I was in the car for a little while, so I listened to a few of our episodes.
Yeah,
I didn't hear any commercials.
I don't know. I think I go on Apple, Spotify, Rumble.
Yeah,
they're still up on YouTube, including both episodes of Greg and Leah.
The algorithms haven't hit yet.
Yep, some crybaby, probably one of these too many commercials. I don't know where you're listening or watching. But
look, keep in mind when we upload to these sites for free, they can put whatever they want in.
They have control over that. I have no control over it.
So, and it would be kind of funny if, some of them commercials are like completely opposite of what we.
Yep, exactly. Jim, we want to get into this. So again, it's the story of the week. It's the bloodbath comment,
and there's no story.
But boy, oh boy, is the media just having a gay old time with the bloodbath statement. Oh, it's another insurrection. It's a call to the MAGA crowd. We're all going to just rush every building, that federal building in the nation, and just take over.
Nancy Pelosi. We know what this means. Do we?
What does it mean, Nancy? Why are you still
He never
relevant?
locked anybody up when he was president before. He never went after his political opponents. But what's going on now? Anyway,
thanks,
he's
Nancy.
never done the things that why wouldn't he have done the things that they're saying he's going to do?
Yeah.
We do have a Congress. You can't willy-nilly take people's rights away.
You can't do it. You can't just do it.
The idiot voters on the other side are going to buy every single bit of it.
They are. Yeah. But has bloodbath ever been said before in the media?
No, I've never heard it before.
Oh, well, wait. Just in. Jim and Eagle Eye Jim found this video, and Anyways, we're going to play it. I have to do it sort of in a different way. So bear with me, Jim.
Keep in
Bear
mind,
with me.
the people that are saying that he's doing a bloodbath, just listen.
Just listen. So I have to do this in a different way. It worked in practice, Jim. Let's see if it works now. First of all, I got to go there. And then I got to go there. Oh, no, there. If I close this whole thing out, Jim,
let me sing.
Here's the screen. Let's see what I share here. That looks like it might be the one that I need to share. So let's do that. It's popping up. Look at how. Oh boy, you see it?
Pretty.
Can you see it? Yep. Okay, I'm going to hit play. Now listen. Did the media ever say bloodbath before? I don't think so. I don't think there's one single.
Never been said.
Never been said. Never been referred to. Never been said before. How dare Trump?
Politico.com reports tonight on the, quote, bloodbath at the RNC.
Headlines calling it a, quote, bloodbath. Be a bloodbath. Not only is it going to be a bloodbath, but after they leave New Hampshire, it's a bloodbath on her home turf. That's really tough. Trump has left a lot of corpses in his wake. I mean, we can count the bodies as part of the, quote, MAGA drive to take over Maricopa County. And the headline refers to it as an impending bloodbath.
Columnist Charles Blow has a new piece for the New York Times entitled A Biden Bloodbath.
2018 midterms, you can bet that they 100% are fearing a slaughter. In fact, the word bloodbath and massacre come up frequently. The
I'm sure it was referred to.
I haven't heard it once yet.
I haven't heard it once yet. Have you?
The party will be destroyed. It's going to be a bloodbath.
There's going to be a bloodbath one way or the other.
Bloodbath for Bernie Sanders.
It's been a bloodbath. They're shaping up to be a bloodbath.
Head off a bloodbath in next year's crucial midterm.
Off-year elections are often a bloodbath.
I can't take it. I mean, like we're halfway through almost. So I don't know who put this together. I think I do know who shared it. I can't remember the name. Maybe you do, Jim, off of X.
Well, it's been on Fox. Has also done similar stuff to this.
Similar stuff. Yeah. This is well put together. Takes time to do this thing. So hold on.
This week's bloodbath for Democrats, a bloodbath at the ballot box.
There could be a Republican bloodbath.
They'll talk about a bloodbath.
It's a bloodbath. I have to talk about you. And
It's going to be a bloodbath all day long.
Is in for a bloodbath.
Hasn't been a bloodbath on the way down. Donald Trump bloodbath. Be a bloodbath.
Predicted to be a bloodbath. May not be the bloodbath.
It would be a bloodbath.
More of a bloodbath.
It's going to be a bloodbath in November.
Possible Biden bloodbath this November.
A bloodbath on Wall Street.
There's going to be a bloodbath in Alabama into a bloodbath.
Obviously, there was a bloodbath. It was a bloodbath. We're down 800 points.
This bloodbath at Department of Homeland Security.
And it's a bloodbath today.
There was going to be this bloodbath.
Election bloodbath.
It could be a bloodbath for them.
Bloodbath, possibly.
Bloodbath that went through with the Attorney General.
Bloodbath 99 days out. The bloodbath is going to look like
presided over a bloodbath in the diplomatic corps.
Absolute, in my opinion, bloodbath. The Democrats
are calling it. Ticket sales turned into a bloodbath. Ticket sales for singer Taylor Swift's latest tour.
It's safe to say the fans had a bloodbath for the company after the fiasco.
Oh my God!
Could that have been more?
Please keep in mind when the term bloodbath is used. I don't know why it was created. I have no idea, but it does not mean
came from.
It does not mean it's going to be a Black Lives Matter riot where there's literally blood in the streets. This is bloodbath. Yeah, Antifa as well. It's just a term that is used when something like, for instance, when we were supposed to dominate the midterms and take over the House and the Senate, it was supposed to be a bloodbath, which meant it was going to be a switch of power by a big margin. Not that we're going to have Democrats in the streets bleeding from throat slashes. But no, when Trump says it, oh my God,
oh my God, here it goes. Another insurrection 2.0. I mean, this is the most ridiculous thing. That was well put together. Thank you, Jim, for finding
it. And folks, he is not wrong when he says China. I mean, we know this. We in blood money, we know that China is not making a huge profit off of these drugs that clip that they're selling because they're getting what they want.
Correct.
So they don't have to put a lot of money. These electric cars that they're building in Mexico or they're planning to build in Mexico, $18,000.
Yeah.
Okay. They're going to sell these things between $18,000 and $22,000. What is the average cost of an EV car made in America?
Yeah. Oh, geez,
60?
110? I don't know.
I mean,
now.
the average, right? The average,
Oh,
because there's some more, some less.
Yeah.
But they're so expensive. So now they're coming in. Trump is not wrong when he says that if he does not win the election, Biden's going to let this in because Biden's owned by China.
Yep. It's going to be a
as
bloodbath.
our other politicians are owned by China. They're not going to stop this.
Nope, they aren't. You're right. Yeah, Jim, good points. Good points. But just great video of the media never using the term. But damn that Trump. How dare he?
Boy, recordings suck, don't they?
Yeah, I know. Video these days. It's just it's hard to come by. Jim, you want a couple? We haven't celebrated Women's Month in a bit. I have a couple videos to celebrate Women's Month as we have been all month.
I hope so because it's important.
Yeah, this one here is a little bit about it's some trans dating safety tips. Okay, it's nothing, but here I think heed the warning for all you trans
safety tips for those of us who might be dating a trans and not knowing it.
I'm not exactly sure what the hell's about to happen, Jim. To be honest with you, I told you before I got on the air, I am unprepared today.
Okay,
so we'll just play it by ear. Let's see what happens.
I recently had my first date since coming out as a non-binary trans woman, and let's talk about what I did to make it safe. So the first thing, of course, we met in
quick, and I'll back it up so we can all see it. This is, just so you know, and it says it real, a non-binary trans woman. Those are very contradicting terms to me.
It does. I don't get it anymore.
Means you're
I have no idea.
But here's some.
That's why I just go men, and this is a man who thinks he's a woman.
Very hard to tell it's a man, isn't it?
Not really.
I identify as a non-binary trans woman. Hello,
nice makeup job, though. Nice makeup job, though. I like that.
Oh yeah, it's got the very shadowy cat eye. How do I know that and why? Okay, hold on.
I don't know. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Bullshit. Non-binary trans woman.
I recently had my first date since coming out as a non-binary trans woman. And let's talk about what I did to make it safe. So the first thing, of course, we met in public. We also met up early. We did an early morning coffee date. We met at 11 o'clock. I had my purse with me, and you know what I keep in my purse? A taser and pepper spray. Also,
a condom, I thought. But anyways.
Pepper spray. Also, my friends knew where I was. After we had our coffee, we went for a little cute walk, went down to the water, sat and chatted in the park, and all of these places that we went were super public. But honestly, even though I hold many privileged identities alongside my transness.
Many privileged identities.
I just don't. I don't.
There's nothing, I mean, look, there's nothing psychotic behind those eyes, right? There's like nothing.
Right there? That looks that looks pretty bad.
Okay, moving on.
Because of the violence associated with transness. And
what is the violence?
Well, I'm going to get to that. So hold on.
Okay.
And the way that people can sometimes react when they're with somebody who's very visibly trans. I just want
visibly. You're visibly going to a costume party, but I don't.
I give up.
Don't give up. Don't give up on me. I need you.
I just want to be as safe as possible. Let me know what you think if you have any questions, and I'll see you in the next one.
Well, we can't wait till the next one.
A couple questions. First, did she notify the person that she was trans female?
I'm going to assume,
I'm sorry,
because quite the shock. I'm scared. If that happened to me and I wasn't,
If I'm getting intimate, and I
how can you
discover that the person that I'm with is hung better than me, I'm gonna be a little concerned.
As soon as you're done, you're out of there, right? I mean,
no, it wouldn't have started. But also, there is one thing I will agree with him on this.
Mm-hmm.
Even if somebody did go and find out that he was a trans woman, no violence should have happened.
I would think not.
Okay.
I mean,
maybe a simple comment about, a little bit of honesty up front.
A little bit?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like
respect what you want to do in your life,
Mhm.
but that's not for me. I'm going to, okay.
I agree.
If he hit her or him, God, I guess, if the guy hit him, wrong.
Well, I don't think
Completely
that
wrong.
happened
Should
here.
never-
It's
I know.
talking about,
It didn't.
this didn't happen in this case. And I'm going to assume that he let the person, listen, if he showed up, let's just put you in this, you're the guy showing up, you see
Mhm.
him. Are you going on a nice little courtly walk down the river? No, of course not.
No, I
Well, I mean,
I
maybe
would
you
like
will.
to think that, well, first of all, I'm happily married and I'd never have to date a trans.
That's not my point. Wait, these are all,
Because,
we're
if
playing
my
make-believe,
lovely-
Jim, obviously.
If my lovely wife approached me and said, "Hey, I feel I need to," then we got a problem.
So here we go. Here's the statistics on the violent crimes against trans. More than 300 trans people were killed in 2023. And here they go. 31 in the United States.
Mhm.
52 in Mexico. 5 in Guatemala, 21 in Colombia, 19 in Ecuador, 11 in Peru, 8 in Argentina, 100 in Brazil, 7 in Pakistan, where they just welcome trans.
Mm-hmm. I was expecting
5 in
more.
Bangladesh, 11 in India, and 8 in the Philippines, where it's probably more accepted. A lot of ladyboys in these areas.
Mhm.
But what I'm saying is that this is the trans community's murder rate. 300 killed. Were they murdered? Were they killed? And doesn't say that.
Right. We
Doesn't
don't
say
know
that.
how they were killed.
Correct.
Now, if it was the COVID situation, they died of COVID.
Yep.
Remember, they just apply to it what they want to apply to it. Right.
Nope, they died of this. So 300 out of 7 billion. Can you do the math for me on the percentage of all the
It's
violent
less than a half
trans
of a half
crimes?
of a half of a half of a half percent. Let's just say that.
And let's just say now, proportionately, there's 1.5% of the population is trans or non-binary or whatever you want to call them now. That's far less percentage of what the population is.
In their mind.
In their community.
Us laughing at him
is a violent crime.
Yeah.
Is a violent crime. Well, speaking of that, here's just one more. And then we'll move on. God
bless him.
Bless his heart. Let's see this one.
Same one.
Nope. I'll be damned. See, Jim, I told you I was as unprepared today. Is that really the same one? Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, the Adam's apple just bugs me.
Gosh dang it. How's that possible? Now, how do I get through this and end it? Sorry. Moving on. Moving on.
There you go.
I don't know how that happened. Let's try this one. Jim, I told you, I'm about as prepared.
That's okay. That's what makes this show great.
Is it? Is it, Jim?
When my mic goes out,
is it really? I had one more and I really liked it. Anyways, we'll skip it then because I don't even know.
Let's get it.
I don't know if this is it. I'm trying to watch it. I don't know if this is it. Huh? I'm trying to locate
again, congratulations to all the women.
In the celebration of Women's Month, this is really
completely being destroyed and taken over by these individuals who think they're women.
Correct. Jim, things are moving slow on my end here. Here we go. Let's see. What's this one? Oh, here. So let me open this real quick.
I like going.
No. Let me see here, Jim. Maybe this will work. Hold on. I might have a little something for us here.
All right.
Okay. So I'm going to share a screen again, and we're going to see if this works. Jim, This could be on the fly. Things we're learning today.
I know. This is fun.
So let's see. What do I learn here? What have I learned?
Well, I've learned that you got to be careful if you're on a dating app.
Let's see what
that's what I learned of all that.
What happens if I share this? Shoot. Let me see what's happening here. Yeah. Oh no. Jim went away. Oh my Lord. Now you're just looking at our email.
Yeah.
This isn't working out so well. Huh?
It's not. I mean, it's not showing anything. So that's it.
Nah,
Download.
I'm
See
just
what
trying
happens.
to. It's
Just,
what I'm
you know,
saying.
let's
Why
just
doesn't it
hit
show that
download.
one?
Let's just see.
Why
Yeah,
can't
you
I
better.
download?
You want to preview the file, not on.
I do. I mean, I don't know why it didn't pop up like that when I'm sharing, Jim. One more
Because I
try.
know I like to send you some of me and my pole dancing pictures and stuff. So
I do
just don't
like your
that
pole
out
dancing
there.
pictures. What's this one? No, none of them are. Why isn't that popping up, Jim? I really wanted to show you this dude. I apparently I cannot. Hold on one sec. We'll try something here. I wonder if I can upload videos while we're here on the fly. Anybody enjoying this show so far? Jim, you want to go on with something that's a little bit more interesting
Well,
here?
it's not either one of our teams, but Major League Baseball kind of officially started today. So that's
kind of
cool.
officially, yeah. It should be.
Cool.
It should be the Reds having the first game, but it never does.
They changed that. I know.
Huh?
Yeah, they changed it. I get it.
Well.
Oh well.
Yeah, I mean, it did kind of start today. Let's get into some news, Jim. We've wasted so much time, and I apologize to Denice Gary-Pandol for interrupting her interview. Let's talk about a couple things I have here. We want to go into this real quick because Supreme Court Judge Jackson says the quiet part out loud, right? So we were both going to kind of do this story, but the first day, perhaps the only day of the Supreme Court oral arguments on Murthy versus Biden took place on March 18th. This was an opportunity to seek Supreme Court resolution on the matter of U.S. government personnel in the Federal Bureau of Investigation, Department of Homeland Security, the Center for Disease Control, the Surgeon General, and others coercing social media to throttle, silence, and censor American citizens. Okay?
It's a bloodbath.
The bloodbath. So the predominant post-hearing headlines from much of legacy media on the SCOTUS opinion headline included SCOTUS likely to reject Missouri and Louisiana's case appears doomed. SCOTUS justice, liberal and conservative alike appeared skeptical of the assertions. Okay, so we are here and listen to the arguments. Where do we get on to our friend Miss Ketanji Brown? Justice Ketanji Jackson Brown received the accolade for the most memorable comment of the hearing. She seemed concerned that the First Amendment was hamstringing the federal ability to control social media. This is what this justice, who was put in place because of gender and color, said, that the First Amendment of our Constitution was getting in the way of the government's ability to control social media. That's the in a nutshell. Am I wrong? That's kind of what was said.
Exactly.
So that is absolutely bizarre to me. Jim, guess what? File uploaded. Let's hear it.
All right.
One of the first times that I was out in public as a trans woman.
Okay, so hold on. I'll back it up because it always starts.
One of the first times that I was out in public as a trans woman was when my wife and I.
Okay, I'm really confused now.
I am too, but anyways.
My wife and I were meeting a friend at a bar. It was early in my transition, so I.
Is it currently late in his transition? That's what I want to know. Is it too late to go back? Is what I'm saying.
So I stood out. Now a woman.
Unlike now. The first time
you're gonna stand out
as a woman,
dude.
I was with
you're
my
gonna
wife.
stand out.
You're gonna stand out,
now.
and it's okay. It's okay to stand out. Do that.
Yeah.
You know, you can be fine and be who that's who you want to be in your. But then this happens. Okay, so
in her 70s looked over at me and she smiled. It felt friendly and accepting, but then every time I looked back over at her, she was still looking at me.
Well, why are you looking at her? But moving on. I love people that say that. Every time I look over there, they're staring at me. Well, how do you know? You're looking over there.
Because you're looking over
at me and smiling. I've run into this thing a few times over the years. And look, we trans folks are awesome. We should be celebrated. But when we're out in the world, we mostly just want to blend in.
Do you?
Yeah, I love attention. But I'd rather have people stare at me because I'm gorgeous.
No.
It's probably
nope.
That's probably not going to happen.
Yep.
Not because
I'm trans. That's how it ended on that one.
Wife. I'm hung up on the wife.
I mean, yeah, I'm still hung up on the wife. Anyways, back to the gender and racially appointed justice of our Supreme Court. She wants to basically get rid of the First Amendment. I don't say get rid of it. She didn't say that, but she said it's in the way. She wants to alter it. Your First Amendment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're not going all the way down here. I mean, this is the freedom of speech, and she said it out loud, and we wonder why she wasn't qualified to be a Supreme Court justice sworn to uphold the Constitution of the United States of America. And you're not worried about them packing the courts if Biden wins again too, with that kind of thinking? Jim, you got anything to add to that?
Well,
to that,
folks, you have to keep in mind, if this is a 6-3, or God forbid, if they lose this case, look out. Because remember, this whole case is because of when people like us would spout off about be careful of the COVID vaccinations.
Yeah.
All right, we would talk negative about it and stuff like that, and we would be pulled off. Okay, you and I talk about election integrity.
Yep.
We get pulled off. But Hillary Clinton can talk about, and Letitia James in 2018 can say this is an illegitimate president.
Yep.
And they don't get taken off. All right, that's what this is about.
Correct.
So if the Supreme Court, which worries me because some of the people that I've heard, it sounds like it's leaning to where they're going to lose this case.
I know.
And if they lose this case, you don't think the federal government, and I mean Republicans and Democrats alike, are not going to say, "Oh, this is great."
Yeah, I know.
And we're done.
We have control.
Yep.
We're done. We're done as a nation. I mean, do you understand that? I mean, they're already gung ho on the Second Amendment.
I get
the
it.
Second Amendment away. So
for somebody to sit there, if somebody comes out and says, like for instance, when Marge Schott famously during an interview,
excuse me, Jim,
said that Hitler was doing good things, but then he went a little overboard. Remember the backlash that she got from that? She had a right to say it, but she also deserved the right for the backlash that came from it.
For it. Correct.
Okay. So that's what this is. I yell fire in a crowded movie theater. I was talking about this earlier. I don't get in trouble for yelling fire in a crowded movie theater. Now, if there's a mad rush to the exits where somebody gets hurt, I'm liable for that. Okay, so you are entitled to free speech, but you also have to be held accountable for what happens after.
You do.
Okay,
correct.
and not the January 6th where they're trying to put all this shit on on President Trump. But this is, I mean,
it's crazy.
This is scary.
It's scary.
And for the fact that we do have a Supreme Court justice who one can't identify what a woman is, let alone
there you have it,
free speech.
So
and this look, I get it because you hear the left slowly start saying that the First Amendment might be a little bit too broad. You're starting to hear this now. You're starting to hear these people saying this stuff. Why? This court case is very important to them.
Very important. And
our voices literally will be to take from a friend. Our conservative voices will be silenced.
Yep. Christina.
They will be.
Yep.
And so.
Okay.
Anyway.
Well, what do you got before like a couple big stories here? Since I drug on and screwed up the whole first half of the show, Jim.
Well, I guess. Does anybody hear about? We have a UN Secretary General Youth Climate Advisor.
Whoa!
Did you know we had one?
Yeah,
I had no idea. And this person, very qualified. Not. Anyway, so the United Nations Youth Climate Advisor has a history of social media posts that call for the destruction of capitalism, claimed terrorism is used as a Western smear to justify its imperialism and attack white people for purportedly feeling humanity's extinction vis-a-vis the climate crisis.
Wait, white people. I heard one word. I heard one phrase in there.
Just wait. You should.
Okay, it's white people.
Basically, what this individual says, and I even hate to say her name, but her name is Aisha Siddiqua. And oh, by the way, she's a Pakistani American. She was appointed by the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres. All right. She says, and I quote, "Whites need to be stripped of power in a revolutionary fight."
That sounds like a bloodbath against whites.
Whites need to be stripped of power in revolution. This individual is on the United Nations.
That's why the United Nations
folks
it's full of shit. The United Nations is horrible.
I mean, it's youth advisor. She's the climate person, so she basically is saying white people are the problem.
So she's psychotic.
Yeah, and both terrorism is just a word made up by us.
Oh,
Western
it is.
Western imperialism is what it was, and then white men are causing the verge of extinction.
We are.
America has looted every inch of the planet. Okay, and this individual has a fairly high position. She is right under, maybe literally,
physically.
I don't know. The UN Secretary General. I am not judging. I am just saying.
I'm saying there's a possibility that happened.
This is scary. I mean, this is scary in a whole nother.
They want the extermination of white people, and it's okay. And it's not getting any airplay other than, wherever these stories are showing up, which aren't everywhere,
And leading into
it's pure
our
racism.
late shows, and I hope the interviews with Leah and Greg, I hope they really take off because it's very important to get that story out there. Well, guess what? A Michigan lawyer, Stephanie Lambert, was arrested by U.S. Marshals in D.C. following a court appearance after submitting evidence of numerous crimes, including internal emails from Dominion voting systems to law enforcement.
Yeah.
Now, that's not why she was.
Information.
Excuse me, I got to do this. That's not why she was arrested.
Oh,
she had a bench warrant that she refused to show up to. So they happened to. They could have got her anytime. Okay. But they decided to arrest her as she's presenting this paperwork to it. Yep. And folks, we're going to go into a little bit of this, but please keep in mind that when you hear proof and evidence, there is proof and evidence out there.
There is plenty of
it. You just have to be able to go out and look. That's all it is.
Oh,
just go and look.
It's fake news. We're spreading misinformation, says our good friends
January
on Facebook.
6th, by the way, okay, keep in mind, January 6th, they weren't saying the election needed to be overturned. That is not what President Trump and the Republican senators
postpone
and
it for the 20 days to make sure everything is like legally, constitutionally, what you can do, which
because they saw a lot of things going on that just didn't seem right, and they wanted investigated.
Well,
but Bill Barr and Mike Pence,
bottom feeders, traitors, treasonous individuals in this country.
So, but here's another bit of evidence, okay, that I guarantee you is going to get squashed.
Oh, sure is. Yeah,
and
it's already they're discrediting her by arresting her, so it doesn't matter.
And what the Dominion showed, by the way, it showed that outside interference.
Yes,
with these Dominions, which was what the whole point of the matter was.
The whole point of the matter was
too easy to get hacked.
Too easy to hack it.
Right.
Too easy.
Because keep in mind,
we learned about V drives. We learned there's so much we learned from Greg and Leah that
as Greg said, Wi-Fi can't be done.
Yeah, I know.
It's not secure enough.
It's not. We know that.
Okay, and anyway,
Jesus God, I'm talking about. I don't know. I'm talking about going golfing out of town somewhere. It doesn't matter where. But I pick a course. I'm like, man, I'd like to play that course. And I'm scrolling through Facebook. Third ad in is an ad for that Oh, they're not listening. There's no way to hack things. There's no way Wi-Fi can be. There's no breaches going on around the world. Are these people insane? This is exactly what they want by design, by plan, and it's. Whew, I'm telling you, Jim, you're right. I jumped in there, but go on.
No, perfect. That's awesome. The Green New Deal.
You're awesome, brother. Yeah.
Of the 100 most polluted cities,
Of the 100 most polluted cities in the world or in the United States?
In the world.
Okay.
Or in the United States. Not.
What?
Not.
Yeah, I was going to say no.
All but one of the world's 100 most polluted cities are in Asia.
Oh, no. You're kidding me. We didn't know they
The
didn't have
majority of
any
these cities are in India.
Yeah.
India.
Mm-hmm.
They're not, okay, they'll say they're going after, but they're not, because the cost
What's
of
the
their
one
product
city
will
in
go up.
America?
I'm getting to that.
Okay.
Well,
sorry. Sorry, Bill.
No, it's LA or New York.
I knew it was one of the two.
83 cities identified in Asia alone. All these exceed WHO's air quality guidelines around 1,000%.
But we gotta
Other
stop
heavily
it here.
Other heavily polluted countries include Bangladesh, Pakistan, and Burkina Faso. The world's most polluted city is Begusarai in northern India, 500,000 people. The average annual PM is 2.5, concentration of 118.9, which is 23 times higher than the World Organization. But we in the U.S., because as the climate, as we see the globe, we see the Earth and everything, and we know that there is a separate line that does not get over to the United States.
Correct.
It just doesn't.
Yeah, the air doesn't get here.
So
it goes around
we
us.
have to put all the money all the time because we have to be the world leaders.
That's right. In this.
While everyone else is laughing at us because everything that we do goes up in price, they keep getting more money because, well, we got to go to India. We got to go to China. We got to because we can't afford to make it here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Haha. Who wins there?
Exactly. Wow.
So
good news.
Anyway, so that's, just to let you know that, the Green New Deal, they don't have one over in Asia.
No, they don't.
they
don't have one in India.
Guess what? They're not going to do it.
Yeah. Oh, but the Paris Climate Accord that brings us all together. No, it doesn't.
Together, all right.
Yeah, it brings us together. Jim, what else you got?
Well, real quick, remember how Hamas was dangerous and we need to get rid of them?
Oh, they aren't anymore?
The White House is backing off a little bit from that. State Department Deputy Spokesman Vedant Patel, who is completely useless, by the way, if you've ever watched him speak at all, I'm just, it's like, I get DEI on paper. It all looks good. Make sure
this
they're
whole
qualified.
Administration is DEI.
The
whole administration is. And 1/9 of the Supreme Court is.
He Tuesday that in a briefing on Tuesday that the U.S. shares the goal of degrading Hamas.
I'm sorry.
Remember, it was defeating Hamas. We agree with Israel going in and defeating Hamas. We just want to tell you how to do it.
Yeah.
Right. Remember, that's basically what we're doing.
Right.
Like we United States, we want you to go in and attack Pakistan or Afghanistan because that's where the evil people are that did 9/11.
Right.
But here we're going to tell you how to do it.
Exactly.
You think we're going to listen to that? Anyway, but now they're changing the words.
Oh,
okay.
Like they
degrading Hamas instead of defeating them because, we don't want to destroy Hamas.
Yeah, we
can't.
We just
because
want they're fighting for the
why we don't want to
Palestinian
destroy Hamas? I saw this interesting video. They showed these group of people in the Gaza Strip cheering when Israel was bombed.
Yeah.
They were cheering when Israelis were dying.
Yep, that's right.
Were being brutally murdered.
Yep.
Now they're crying when they're being killed.
Yep.
But we gotta, and again, I'm sorry, I'm not all. Not all of them are bad. I am not saying that. I'm just saying.
All right, moving on.
When they go into streets and cheer and all that stuff. By the way, Tyson laid off 1,000 workers while they hired illegals. Congratulations.
Congratulations. So you want to boycott someone, boycott Tyson. Do it. Honestly.
Okay,
people.
so here's my favorite one. We remember, right? Everybody remember the State of the Union address, right?
Yeah, I do.
We are safer than we've been.
Yes,
right?
I
We were
remember him
told
saying
that.
Of course we were.
There was a survey done of New Yorkers.
Yeah.
Only half of the New York residents plan to stay.
Yeah.
And why are they leaving, Dale?
I'm gonna guess safety reasons.
Yeah,
They were overrun by immigrants.
6,600 households were surveyed. This is a big survey.
Yeah, it's a big.
Because most of the time surveys are what, 1,000, 1,200, whatever. You know. So the way this person wrote it, John Nolte, the guy's really good. He said, so he puts only half of New Yorkers plan to stay in the city, according to a survey of more than 6,600 New York households. New York Times reported this. Then he goes into, but his fraudulency, Joe Biden received 76% of the New York vote.
Yeah.
In 2020.
Sure.
Question mark. But Democrat Eric Adams received 66% of the New York City mayoral vote in 2021. Question mark. Why is everyone so unhappy in New York when they're getting exactly what they voted for?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it didn't.
I love when reality hits these
I know.
people.
Me too. Yeah.
Only 39 are content with the state of public education. Only 37% are happy with the level of public safety. And 34% are satisfied with the neighborhood's cleanliness. But we are safer now under Biden than we were under Trump. Remember,
guess who they're going to vote next? Democrats again.
Yeah.
Guess who they're going to keep doing it. That's right. Yep. Too bad.
So congratulations. Anyway.
Yeah. Jim, do you want to do your illegal deprived? And
it's
then
really,
I'll get into
really
this
quick.
guilty but not guilty thing. It's
and I'm
going to
say this,
but I'll do it.
And I'm going to say this, and yes, folks, this is what it says, okay? A U.S. district judge appointed by former President Barack Obama dismissed gun charges against an illegal immigrant, stating that he should not be deprived of his Second Amendment right to bear arms.
Unbelievable. Time out.
You heard what I said, right?
Yep. Time out.
Illegal immigrant.
Not a
does
citizen.
not have a right to bear arms.
He doesn't have a right to anything.
These leftists. Now, I agree with, like, if this was a legal American being arrested for having guns.
Yeah.
Okay, I agree, but
he's illegal.
This makes no sense.
Yeah.
So Sharon Coleman of the Northern District of Illinois, who had twice previously denied the illegal immigrant's motion to dismiss the case against him, reversed herself in the case against Heriberto Carbajal Flores, who was found with a handgun in the Little Village neighborhood of Chicago in June of 2020. This guy is not bad. This guy did not have convictions. He said that he was given the gun for his own protection, his own safety. That's what he said. So no, this guy was not going around.
Yeah.
The point of the matter is, these individuals don't want the Second Amendment. They want to completely get rid of it, right?
But
now all of a sudden, an illegal has the right to. Are you kidding me?
Do you understand the illegal has no rights in this country? No rights.
See, that's what I was kind of wondering.
Zero rights.
Anyway, because that's why I said
anything.
Illegal immigrant has a right to defend themselves.
Zero rights.
No, they don't.
They do not.
No, they don't. But anyway, this was a Obama appointed judge. So
of course.
Surprise, surprise, right? But
surprise.
It just, again, guys, I get it. He's not a bad guy. Okay. He's not one of these people that rapes. He's not. But he knows better than to have a gun.
Correct.
Especially in Chicago.
Yep.
Isn't this one of the
what are they doing with him now that he's illegal? Does he have, like, what are they going to do with him? Just let him.
Well,
that's it.
Give him $10,000 on a debit card and say,
I know. Yep. I mean, unbelievable, right? So, I mean, I'm certain, and let's be fair and honest. I'm certain that I pass a bunch of illegals every day. I'm not saying you can kind of tell. I'm just saying that, basically, the ones you're passing. I'd say a lot of those they're working. They're just making money.
Right.
I'm not against people coming to the country. It's just, folks, you gotta come on. I mean, come on. They're flying them over. They're murdering, they're raping, they're selling drugs, they're doing other things. I mean, and they're voting. That's the most important part. And they're voting with their names, not even in person. Has nothing to do with that. You heard Greg talk about that. They're using their names on ballots. That's what it's all about.
Did you hear the Don Lemon interview with Elon Musk?
Oh, I sure, boy, wouldn't you love to interview your boss on your first day of work and then talk like Don Lemon?
He was wrong.
Yeah.
But no one's going to call him on it.
I know.
He literally said when Elon Musk said, "No, it's not going to affect the Senate races."
Yeah.
But when you take this, because keep in mind, right, President Trump, when they did the census under President Trump, he said illegals cannot be counted.
Correct.
Well, as soon as you know who came into office, guess what he got rid of?
Yep. Illegals can be counted.
Okay, illegals can be counted. What do you think they're doing, folks?
Yeah.
Now, Greg Abbott protected all of us, and I'm going to be honest with you, because he got rid of them out of Texas and moved them across the country, which I don't think they expected.
I don't think so.
Because they wanted to turn Texas. Not today.
Correct.
Not tomorrow. A couple years, they want to turn it when they do the next census, because what happens is when you have more people, you get more what? And then the less people you have in these areas, you get less what? You know, so this all has to do with House, Congress, and the Electoral College.
Correct.
That's what they're doing.
That's what they're doing.
Okay, this is the biggest thing that's going on right now, folks. And this in itself is scary because because New York has all these new people in there. That means they're going to get more electorals.
Yep, correct.
Which means other states will get less.
That's right. Yeah.
So
and therefore, the always Democrat machine keeps flowing.
There is more to it
getting voted in.
Than them just saying, "Hey, let them come in, let them come in." And the other thing that we're not even talking about, they're working jobs.
Yeah.
That businesses are hiring them to do. They're not having to pay the minimum wage.
Tyson.
They're not having to pay benefits.
Correct. Yeah.
So who is that hurting?
They don't even have to pay. Yeah, they have to pay no benefits. They don't have to pay the minimum. They can pay whatever they want, and they save a butt ton on the benefits, the health benefits in general, because they're getting them for free anyways. The illegals, we know that. And so, yeah, you're right, Jim. Good.
So the unemployments of legal Americans are going up.
Yep.
Because these businesses are hiring.
But they're doing the jobs Americans don't want to do, Jim. Come on. I mean, let's be honest. You know, that's the argument, right? Jim,
that's the argument we always hear, but it's killing the United States anyway.
It is. It is. I'm going to get to this real quick. Guilty, but not really guilty. This was written by Victor Davis Hanson. Okay. In American Greatness, it's a webpage, but it's very to the point. Now it starts back a little bit and it gets in, and I will make this as quick as possible, even though I did warn you at the beginning this was sort of long. And then I went on the first half of the show to screw it all up. In 2011, then Homeland Security Advisor to President Obama, John Brennan, swore before Congress that drone-targeted assassination missions near the Pakistani border had not led to, quote, a single collateral death. That was an obvious lie with grave consequences, given that Brennan was sworn under oath and was one of the top officials in the U.S. national security community. Yet there were no subsequent repercussions. In fact, the opposite occurred. Brennan was subsequently rewarded with a 2013 appointment as CIA director. But the next year, once again, Brennan lied to Congress, assuring the Senate Intelligence Committee that the CIA had not secretly accessed Senate staffers' computers. Again, there were no consequences for his repetitive lies. Instead, Brennan, upon retirement, went on to be an MSNBC/NBC analyst who helped to push the Russian collusion laptop disinformation hoaxes. On to 2013, Director of National Intelligence James Clapper also lied under oath to Congress when he laughably stated that the National Security Agency did not spy on American citizens. Later, when called out by senators, Clapper fudged in a television interview, quote, "I responded in what I thought was the most truthful or least untruthful manner by saying no. Try that contortion with the IRS." Some members of Congress referred a criminal complaint of perjury against Brennan to then Attorney General Eric Holder. Nothing happened. Again, one of the chiefs of the American national security community was exempted after lying to members of Congress. Clapper went on to a lucrative position at CNN as a CNN national security analyst, and at one point he claimed that Trump was a Putin asset. Now, as far as Eric Holder, he had earlier defied a congressional subpoena and was held in contempt by the House. The Department of Justice, however, chose not to pursue the complaint. Later in the Trump administration, Trump advisor Peter Navarro would be sentenced to 4 months in jail for similarly resisting a congressional subpoena. Was it a crime or not to resist a congressional subpoena is the question. The Justice Department's Inspector General concluded that Andrew McCabe, the former FBI deputy director and interim director, had lied repeatedly to a variety of officials, including FBI Director James Comey, various FBI agents, and officials of the Office of the Inspector General.
Yep.
On some of these occasions, McCabe was sworn under oath. Yet, in 2020, the Department of Justice chose not to pursue the IG's criminal referrals. McCabe went on to become an outspoken CNN News contributor. Note that General Michael Flynn, Trump's national security advisor, was indicted and convicted for similarly lying to the FBI in 2017. Now, it's not that much longer. In 2016, an FBI investigation found that our favorite, Hillary Clinton, as Secretary of State, had violated the law by transmitting and receiving classified information over an unsecured private server. We all remember Hillary's emails. Subsequently, she destroyed thousands of emails and some devices, some of which were under subpoena. FBI Director James Comey found that, quote, any reasonable person should have known it was illegal to transmit classified information in such a sloppy fashion. Comey, however, found that although there is evidence of potential violations of the statuses regarding the handling of classified information, our judgment is that no reasonable prosecutor would bring such a case, end quote. Translated, that meant Hillary Clinton had likely broken the law, but it was unlikely that any prosecutor like Comey would indict and then current Democrat nominee for president and former Secretary of State, at least in the fashion that state and federal prosecutors would later file over 90 indictments against Donald Trump. In 2018, the now former FBI Director James Comey, on some 245 occasions, claimed under oath to Congress that he did not know or could not remember essential facts in the FBI Crossfire Hurricane investigation of Donald Trump, which he had authorized. In addition, the Office of the Inspector General of the Justice Department found that Comey had broken the law by violating both D.O.J. and FBI policies, as well as the FBI's employment agreement, especially by retaining in his personal safe copies of 4 bureau memos concerning a confidential conversation with President Trump. Elements in those memos from the meeting likely contained classified information, yet Comey leaked it to a friend without a security clearance in order to make it public. Despite the damning IG report, the Department of Justice chose what, Jim? Not to prosecute Comey. Is there a pattern here of likely guilt that is into a not guilty assessment and not guilty due to the prosecutorial psychoanalysis of the jury that a guilty verdict would be difficult to obtain? Or sometimes prosecutors make the assumption that there was no criminal intent on the part of such as well-known public figure, or that the crime was relatively inadvertent. In other words, the above suspects were guilty of breaking laws, many of them felonies, but prosecutors chose not to prosecute them. So special counsel Robert Hur, charged with examining whether President Joe Biden unlawfully removed classified documents, crimes for which the other special counsel, Jack Smith, was concurrently indicting Donald Trump, recently found the president culpable for removing classified files. Hur noted that Biden had unlawfully and knowingly removed those files. Hur compiled photos of the mess in Biden's garage where files were stored and in depleted boxes. Moreover, Biden removed them not inadvertently. He did so to further his political career and write a book, as we had found. But guess what? Hur recommended no criminal charges, unlike Jack Smith, who's going against Biden.
Right.
So this goes on and on and on. It goes on to Fani Willis. It goes on to everything else. But in the spirit of time, I will not continue with it because it is very long. You get the point.
Yep.
We all know it. We all know what's happening. If you're a Democrat, you get away with it. If you're a Republican, you don't. Roger Stone's been indicted. You name. I mean, this is they
Well,
talk
it's
about
anybody
Michael
affiliated
Flynn.
with President Trump.
Anybody that was in with President Trump, the deep state has gotten them. Steve Bannon was arrested. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And soon the two guys, one coup, I imagine, will be arrested.
When you look at his popularity, President Trump, and the left-leaning media is now starting to see it, that some people may not like him, but they also don't like what's being done to him.
Yep, correct.
Because this is ridiculous, folks. I mean, this is you've got a state attorney general in Letitia James, who in 2018 called him an illegitimate president, and she was going to, when she becomes attorney general, she was going to sue him. She was going to take him for she was reported saying this. She was going to go after him and take him. Not only did she say illegitimate president, which I thought you can't say that, and then she talks about how she's going after him. So there's people out there that don't like him.
Correct.
But they also don't like the fact that, folks, we have no say.
None.
In the election. In 2020, okay, we have seen enough evidence now. Remember how you and I has always said, okay, we saw the 22,000 Mules, right? We saw the movie, and they even said that with what happened in Georgia, because all they could do was Georgia. They did all of this stuff based on Georgia, geolocation and all that stuff, that it wasn't enough to overturn the election. But then they said that if these other states did this stuff, that it could. Now, we always said that it didn't add up, but there was something else there. So now we go to Pennsylvania, right? Then we talk to Greg and Leah, who say, we only needed 20 counties.
That's all they needed.
Wasn't a mass cheating, right? You weren't going to cheat in Texas. You weren't going to cheat over here. You're going to cheat in these swing states.
Yep, that's right.
And so I don't care if you don't like Trump. Okay, I don't, whatever. Okay, that's your problem. That's your issue, whatever. And you're right. Okay. But you can't like what's going on.
But they do.
You know, you got the deep state, and I'm talking Republicans and Democrats alike, are telling us who's going to be president, not us. We go to, but we sit there and get mad at Russia on this landslide win that Putin had that we all know. Give me a freaking break. There, you know,
come on. Yeah.
But it's okay here to do it because we don't like Trump.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, but they'll bitch about the one. Yep, you're right. They'll do that. And then Chucky Schumer interfering in the election over in Israel,
Yeah, isn't that something?
Is that something? So, Jim, we're going to get to our interview. I know we drug on today, and I apologize. That is literally 100% my fault today. But we want you to stay and listen to Denice Gary-Pandol, now former United States Senatorial Candidate out of the state of California. Listen to what she has to say. Great lady. Should have been the right choice for California. But at any rate, the fight continues. Listen to her. Jim and I will be back to wrap this up. Well, everybody, we are happy to have back with us Denice Gary-Pandol. This time, unfortunately, former U.S. Senatorial Candidate out of the great state of California. Wasn't successful in the bid to come in first or second in the primaries. That is now Representative Adam Schiff and Steve Garvey. And we'll get into all these details and what happened there and whatever Denice wants to talk about. But she's going out on a speaking tour to keep the movement going, to keep the message going, and to keep her voice going out there. And she needs to, because she was the perfect candidate for California, people. Denice, thank you so much again for coming on. We missed you. Sorry we didn't get in touch again right before the official primary date. But since then, a lot's happened. We can kind of get into some of that. One thing I'll just bring up real quick is the person who came in third, apparently Katie Porter, who is a Democrat. I just thought it was very funny that she came out and said that, thank you, supporters. She was 3-to-1 TV spending and an onslaught of billionaires spending millions to rig the election. Okay. So a Democrat is claiming an election was rigged.
Establishment, and they're going to back their candidate, and Nancy Pelosi, if you recall, when Barbara Feinstein died, and said, even before she died, she said she was going to retire, and then she died. And if you recall, gentlemen, audience at large, Nancy Pelosi, who was then Speaker of the House, anointed Adam Schiff.
Yeah.
So basically that signaled to Katie Porter that the establishment Dems were going to back Adam Schiff. And they did.
Yeah, and they did.
So she can squawk all day long, just like I'm going to today on your show, about why Steve Garvey came in first. And he only got in November, and nobody actually heard him address a single issue in terms of what he was going to do to solve it. Now, I'm going to back Steve Garvey because we need a Republican.
Right.
That's right.
One of the things that I experienced running for a statewide seat was this, that fundraisers in our state would not fundraise for me. Why? I said to them, because you don't already have name recognition and you don't already have $1 million in your bank account.
There you go.
I said, help me put $1 million in my
Real
campaign.
simple.
Fundraise. I'm the most knowledgeable. And I'm going to pat myself on the back because anybody that's heard me speak will say the same thing. Most knowledgeable, solution-driven, think through the policies, articulate, out there every day, almost every county in the state. We have 58 counties in the state of California. I was in almost every single one of them, talking to my fellow Californians for over 2 years. And I ran for office, and people said, we're going to hold our nose, but we're going to vote for Garvey because of money. And he's a former baseball player. So they figured, well, okay, we'll get behind him. The problem is it shouldn't be about who has the most money.
Correct.
It shouldn't be about the established. So in California, the state GOP, which is headed up by Jessica Patterson. Forgive me, Jessica, you could always turn a new leaf and become conservative. But right now, I don't mean to be unkind, but to the voters of California, she represents the establishment, and she could do the Republican Party a great big favor to help Republicans get elected. And that's turned conservative. There were people in our state, including me, that didn't think that she would even extend, that the California state GOP would even extend President Trump an invitation to the luncheon at the California state GOP last year. We were just surprised that he even got an opportunity, not a dinner engagement, mind you, but he was invited to speak at a luncheon, which we kind of thought, as the former president of the United States, it seems like he should have been given a dinner. Now, maybe
Kind of keynote speaker status.
Maybe, yes. But maybe,
you think?
Yeah. So I'm thinking to myself, well, maybe he told her he could only do a luncheon engagement. And what do I know, right? But I'm telling you the look of it, and I'm telling you that we have in our state what's called the California Republican Assembly. You have Republican assemblies in lots of states, but here in our state, we have the California Republican Assembly. Ronald Reagan said that's the conscience of the Republican Party. We are the conservatives in our state. And they're really looked down on and snubbed by the state GOP. I don't want to get into that. The bottom line is, I have been a strong spokesperson for solutions on what we needed to do. I got on your show, gentlemen, and I talked about how whoever controls the water supply controls the food, and whoever controls the food supply controls the population. And I talked about specific things I wanted to do on day one to build water infrastructure, because there's $30 billion missing here in California that the taxpayers of this state spent over the last quarter century for water infrastructure, and we haven't had a dam built since the 1980s. It's illegal for farmers and ranchers to have rainwater capture systems. That's just one issue. I talked, I think, on your show about overturning NEPA that would push back on all those regulations across industries across America, deregulate the economy, because you and I, whether we're in California or Indiana, are spending thousands of dollars every year just paying the fees and taxes associated with regulations. President Trump wants to deregulate the economy. He wants to cut taxes. And that, again, was part of my message. I talked about getting rid of CEQA, which is involved in the construction and building industry, which would provide more housing. I mean, there's so many solutions I talked about, and most candidates talk about, I don't know, whatever they heard in the news that day.
Yeah, it's true.
We have to give people solutions and a future and a hope and restore the American dream. I want Steve Garvey's campaign to know that one of the other things that I was told that I wasn't going to get any help in my own state to win this election for U.S. Senate was because we hadn't had a Republican win the U.S. Senate since Dianne Feinstein got in, right? It's true, gentlemen.
Wow.
And that was another reason why they weren't going to help me, because they said a Republican hasn't run a statewide seat. I thought, well, Arnold Schwarzenegger did. Of course, he was, what was he?
Yeah. He was,
We did have Ronald Reagan. And anyway, I said, let me be the next Republican to really and move forward. Nope, we're not going to help you. So there I was for 2 years, putting over $100,000 on my car. By the way, I've got at least $10,000 worth of debt from the primary that I need to retire. If anybody would like to help me retire this debt, please.
Yeah, no good.
Contribution. Go to gopandol.com and contribute, or just send me you can Zelle me, call me on the phone, 661-747-1829. I'll give you my mailing address.
There you go.
I'm praying about, this is what I'm doing. I'm praying about possibly looking at another run in 2026. This time for Congress. It'll be a much smaller deal. I could easily get around an entire district in a day, and I could do this over and over and over again, getting out the messages, raising money. And I believe that the state GOP would be more inclined to support me because I will have had so much more name recognition. But I've got to build a real campaign war chest, because this matters to them. So, for me to be a team player, I was brutally ignored by the state GOP and by the Republican National Committee. All right, I forgive you. Let's move forward. Let's work together.
Yeah.
Let's help people in our state. Guys, can I share with your audience some of my speaking topics in case
Please
do. Yes.
Yep.
My fees are negotiable. Okay, so here we go. Victory in November. How do we return Republican leadership to California and the nation?
Yep.
What does it mean to be a biblical voter? What does that look like? I'd love to.
What does it?
Well, for example, I'd love to give people a little bit of a history lesson of why we are an exceptional country.
Please.
And if we just got the churches involved and reminded them that they actually have a civic duty under God, and maybe share what those scriptures are, maybe share what the historical record looks like, maybe say to them, if you just got those tables out there on the sidewalk in front of those churches and register Republicans, do you know that if we had gotten the Christians off the pews in the churches of California and America, Republicans would win in every state in the union?
Correct. Yep. That's right.
But
Denice, there's federal money involved though, and that
they don't need to lose their covering to have tax-free status. First of all, you put the table on the sidewalk. It's public.
Correct.
It's a public deal. And you get people when they're walking in, when they're walking out of you don't have to touch the church.
Yep.
But you need to get people like me. I believe I'm speaking in a church this Wednesday night. You've got to get people like me in the churches and in your civics groups, Kiwanis, what are some of the Rotaries, Lions clubs.
Yep.
Let's educate people on the Alexis de Tocqueville talked. You know Alexis de Tocqueville, that famous author that wrote a book called Democracy in America. Great big book like that, right?
Yeah.
It's somewhere in my library. Anyway,
probably Jim's too.
Alexis de Tocqueville wrote a book called Democracy in America, and he said, I was hoping I'd have a minute. I know we've got to go quickly.
Oh, no.
Alexis de Tocqueville wrote, can I share this real quick?
Please.
Yes.
Upon my arrival in the United States, the religious aspect of the country was the first thing that struck my attention. I'm quoting, by the way, from him. And the longer I stayed there, the more did I perceive the great political consequences resulting from the state of things to which I was unaccustomed. In France, I had almost always seen the spirit of religion and the spirit of freedom pursuing courses diametrically opposed to each other. But in America, I found that they were intimately united and that they reigned in common over the same country.
Not the case.
Our legal system, guys, was based on our Judeo-Christian
Well, yeah, all of it was.
and ideas. Our founding document, the Declaration of Independence, in the second paragraph, it's written that it should be obvious we hold these truths to be inalienable, that among these are the right to life and freedom or liberty and the pursuit of happiness, that these are endowed upon us by our Creator.
Yep.
If that's not a call to God and to say we are endowed by God, our Creator, with certain inalienable rights, and our freedoms have been chipped away with by Democrats. We don't have free speech. I lost my job. I was told we're going to fire you or you can retire. I was told this in June. So this is why I'm so broke. Told we're going to fire you unless you retire because you don't have freedom of speech in the classroom in California. And for you to call people that came here illegally, illegal immigrants or illegal aliens, that's what federal law says. Title 8.
Yeah, I didn't make the term up.
I didn't make it up. It wasn't my word. It was Congress's words on legislation that they passed in the last century. I'm quoting the law, and I'm called a racist, and I'm fired.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. You know,
I need help, people.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you say that because, first of all, I will say that the only thing Steve Garvey has over you is a better career batting average. That's it. But I will say the church, I think right now the church is fighting with itself. You have different denominations that are fighting with each other, and one group's going this way, one group's going that way, and it's like they're all losing sight of what this is about, right? They're losing sight, and it's interesting that you say that because I've seen it, and I've seen it in different ways and different denominations, and it's like, guys, don't we really kind of believe in the same basic principles here? I mean,
shouldn't we? Or shouldn't we? Shouldn't we?
Principles. Love God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, with all thy might. Love thy neighbor as thyself. I mean, the golden rule, right?
Yep.
Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. I mean, these are principles that we were raised with when we used to be raised with when a child went to public school. You're not going to hear that anymore.
No.
You're going to hear, you know what, you might be someone's going to come up to a child and say, you might be a little boy or a little girl. Who knows? It doesn't matter what your biological sex is.
Correct. Or your parents or a doctor.
The color of your skin means nothing today.
Correct.
It's all about gender ideology and racial politics.
Yep. Amen.
It's starting
exactly right. Yep.
And we're going to destroy ourselves from within, which is exactly what communist China wants us to do.
Yep.
Which is why they spend billions of dollars in America every year training American students on how to think against the United States. This is why we have Confucius Institutes on community colleges and university campuses across the country, which I have said we've got to pass legislation to make those Confucius Institutes on our university campuses illegal. It's why we have to ban bite dance. That's why TikTok, if our children need to look at TikTok, okay. But all those messages on TikTok that are anti-American must be removed. Correct. We have to buy out bite dance. It has to be owned and controlled by Americans. And we absolutely have to end the anti-American propaganda to save our country. And that's why we have to have school choice. It's why we have to give public schools competition nationwide, because parents need to be empowered to put their children in a place where they're going to be educated from K through 12, so they're not being taught to hate America, so that by the time they go to college, they're ready to tear down all of our statues and threaten to kill the lives of people like me and others who say, yes, Israel, you have a right to defend yourself. You're actually on the front lines of the war against Islamic terrorism on our behalf. Hamas kills Americans, not just Israeli Jews. And there are 6 other Americans that are still, we hope, alive.
We hope.
That are being held by Hamas, the Islamic resistance movement. So, of course, we don't want more Gazans killed. But who are the Gazans?
Yeah, exactly.
Who are those Arab Muslims? Those are people that vote for the Islamic resistance movement. Those are the people that support the Islamic resistance movement. If they didn't, they could move.
Yep, that's true.
There's,
true.
As far as
100%.
education goes in this country, I'm firmly now convinced that they want free-thinking families to leave the public school system because they can't control them. They want them to leave. They want them to homeschool. They want them to go here. And they're going to lose federal funded dollars. However,
already are.
They've got they're still going to have a lot of kids they can change. And so I personally believe they want, the Moms for Liberty groups and the groups like that are pushing for, let's teach our children. They don't care if you leave.
They don't want that.
You don't do that.
Well, they'll be.
They want the ones they want the low hanging fruit, the ones they can control.
Because there's a lot of them.
Yep.
But there won't be when we get school choice in all the states.
Agreed.
Because then those poor parents that look at their kids at night and say, you don't know how to read, you don't know how to write, you can't do math. You know what, honey? We've got some money now in an account with your name on it. We're putting you in a private school.
Yep, exactly.
And there are poor people.
Yep.
My parents were working people. Well, my mother was a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
I would have loved it if my parents had put me into a private school. I think I would have flourished there. I had, I was really thin and too thin as a child and very quiet and was really kind of hounded and, just persecuted as a little girl in school.
Wow.
And, it would have been so nice to be pulled out of all of that and put someplace else. But my parents couldn't afford to put me into a Christian school or school. And, and I think about that. I think about children that are being persecuted right now, either by teachers or by fellow students, and they need to go someplace else and their poor parents can't afford it.
Correct.
It's called compassion. And apparently the Democrats claim they have it, but they don't. If you were compassionate, you'd want parents and children to be able to get to the very best school for that particular child.
There's too much money in the Department of Education.
Out your friggin' zip code.
Yeah. It brings Department of Education brings in too much money that they can blow on their.
Let's get rid of the Department of Education.
Well, 100%. Amen to that.
Spending so we can give those tax dollars back to the American people.
That's it. That's the perfect solution.
Agencies like the EPA and the Department of Education, we need to get rid of them.
Yeah. Yes.
Let's talk about that. Let's have that conversation. I'm going to help Steve. I'm tired of people telling me, well, we couldn't help you, Denice, because we haven't had a Republican win a statewide election. Well,
and they think Steve's going to? I mean, I
hope he does.
I hope he does too. I hope he does too.
People like me, when we go to run, maybe we'll get a little support.
Maybe.
From the state party, from the national party, and from the fundraisers here in California that wouldn't help me.
Yeah, it's unreal.
Well, we have to do what the National Republican Party did, the Republican National Convention, and that's get a conservative in charge of it. You've got to get rid of the old line. You've got to get people like you've got to get people in there that says, okay, folks, this old way of doing things isn't working. We have got to fix this because we lost midterm elections, and there is no reason on this planet how we lost that.
Mm-hmm.
There was no leadership.
Indiana lost in midterm elections.
Yes, Indiana did. Just nationally, Indiana, you didn't lose anybody, did you?
No,
but nationally, we didn't gain. It wasn't the red wave,
right?
Nationally, it was bad.
Nationally was not.
I have some Republican senators that I'd like to replace, but
Listen, guys. Let me share with people. I've had top secret clearances, and I'd love to go anywhere in the country and talk about national security.
Yeah,
which we need.
Talk about the Middle East. I think I shared how to end wars in the Middle East. What should U.S. foreign policy look like?
Yeah.
So
share that with
you can go to my website, GoPandol, PANDOL.com, GoPandol.com. If you guys will put, you've got my spelling right there, Denice Gary-Pandol.
Yep, we got it.
If you go to my website, you can also, instead of going to GoPandol.com, you could just go to DeniceGaryPandol.com without the hyphen.
Okay.
Between my two last names. Go DeniceGaryPandol.com. You can make a contribution. You can reach out to me. You can call me 661-747-1829.
Say that again.
661-747-1829.
And I'll put it up there for people.
I'd be happy to travel and speak about, again, these issues that how do we end terrorism inside the United States? What does that mean? How do we educate people on becoming biblical voters? What does that look like? And it's about informing the voter and getting into places and saying, take this back to your church. If the church won't let me come and speak, you take it back to your Sunday school class. You call the pastor and make an appointment and talk to him. Let's get people informed and educated. Let's build those places out on the sidewalk so we get people registered. And let's explain to them what their responsibility is before God and country. If you love this, if you love God and you love your country, what is your responsibility? I think we had under 20% of people even getting out to vote in the primary.
Yeah.
Again, just think if the Christians had all gotten out to vote.
Exactly.
What are people thinking of?
Yep. I don't know, to be honest with you. And primaries, that happens a lot, right? And depending on the area and all that they don't get out and vote. This is to me, it's a bigger Republican problem.
That determined who was running for U.S. Senate, who was running for our congressional seats, who was running for supervisor, who was running for your central committee. Do you guys have central committee in every county and your state.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So those
We
are
do here. I don't know if Jim.
getting conservatives in there.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody should be voting in the primary.
Everybody.
Everybody. Just like in the general.
It just always seems primaries and midterms, people get complacent or lazy and expect primaries determine who is going to.
So we're educating people, aren't we, Jim and Dale?
Yeah.
Telling
Mm-hmm.
Ryan.
if you want to get the establishment out, you have to vote in the primary and in the midterm, because that's when you can get a conservative. Because what the establishment was doing, even the establishment machine in the county in which I lived, they told everybody in my county, and they told people in the state, don't vote for Denice, vote for Steve Garvey, because he's more likely to win than she will. Doing that statewide.
Yeah, after 2 years of you traveling up and down the state,
right,
forking out hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I mean, and
vehicle alone.
It's unbelievable. I know.
I was putting 4 new tires on my car.
It's ridiculous.
It's incredible.
Yeah. Wow. So you're going to be, you're still, so you're going on speaking engagements. You're still going to. On a mission. Yep. You're gonna continue to go down that path. I'm glad to hear that you were going to try to run for a congressional seat within the state, right?
Well, I'm praying about that. Yeah, I'm praying about that. We'll see how much money I can raise. We'll see if your people in the make a cut.
Yeah. Sometimes we have to start small. You have to get in to
if I
change
have $50,000, if I have $50,000 in the campaign account, I could get started.
Mm-hmm.
I want to have at least $50,000 in there.
Yeah.
So if you guys anybody that wants to help me,
Jim can write you a check today, I think.
Well, you might know of some people that's
Sure.
Racers. You might know of some people in your orbit.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Or anybody listening that knows that.
Would you help this woman? Why don't you get her some speaking engagements? Let's get her some remuneration so she has $50,000 to get started.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I don't want to hear about name recognition and all that other stuff, because that's an excuse. That was an excuse.
That's an excuse. Remember, last year, I had already been out for a year, and everybody knew. Wow, this woman, she's really that. I mean, I got so many speaking engagements this last year throughout the state because people said, she's getting standing ovations. Let's get her in here. And I thought to myself, where is the state? Where are Republicans?
Yeah.
We've got now another year to go, March to March. Why aren't they helping me get the money I need for ads on radio, on television? I just drew a blank. Road signs. Billboards, thank you.
Yep. You're welcome. Yep.
I mean, the whole bit, all that paraphernalia is needed.
It is.
Yeah.
How do you in California, because there's got to be people out there that think the way Gavin Newsom is running your state, and I don't live there, right? But we've talked a lot about it on the show. We've researched a lot about it. With what he's doing is damaging the state to a point where you're almost to the point where, is there a way back? But then Adam Schiff comes in and he's going to be the same type of guy.
Well,
and then you see
worse.
Steve Garvey.
Yeah. Is currently ahead of him. That is true.
Wow. That'll be interesting because Adam Schiff is terrible.
I had somebody call me today, which is one of the reasons why I asked you to start this interview a little later. One of the people that's working on his campaign said, will you help him? And I said, I will.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's who you are too, but it's needed.
Yeah, I mean, of course I'm going to help a fellow Republican. Any Republican would be better than Adam Schiff.
Yes,
Who, by the way, what did Adam Schiff just say? Yeah, I think it was yesterday, if that was Sunday. Adam Schiff said, you know what? The intelligence community needs to dumb down any assessment to President Trump.
Yeah.
Now, that is a dangerous thing that
Yep.
Adam Schiff is already messaging to the intelligence community that are Democrats, that are woke liberals, to say, you know what, don't give Trump all the information.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Don't share everything with him. You know what? You know why that is an offense so grievous that Adam Schiff should be removed from being able to run for
He should have been removed when he lied.
That could possibly put in peril
It
the
could.
lives of people in California and the nation.
In the nation.
Because
And overseas. And
overseas, thank
Americans overseas.
yes, to
Yep.
dumb down the reports that President Trump might receive from the intelligence community, that's treasonous. To me,
Nothing that comes out of that pencil neck's mouth surprises me.
well,
It's
he leaked top secret information.
Yeah.
He did that already.
Yep. Correct.
Trump administration.
Mm-hmm.
So
Didn't he lose his what do you call that?
The House of Representatives Select Permanent Intelligence Committee.
Yeah, but didn't he lose his security clearance as well?
Yeah.
I think so.
I think so. I thought, if not.
It's my understanding that it was stripped of him because he was removed from the House Republicans Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence.
Yep.
Because I thought he and Swalwell both had their security clearances taken.
Oh boy.
And that's what I thought. Don't quote me on it. I just thought they both did.
About Swalwell's, but
No, he had to have, because he was actually sleeping with a spy.
Literally.
But in all honesty, if you want to get a push and talk to your Republican convention and the Steve Garvey campaign, I don't know if you've read any part of it or heard of it, but Blood Money by Peter Schweitzer, you need to get those clips out of there about Schiff and about Gavin Newsom, about the fentanyl trade, about all of this stuff with China. And if that doesn't change some voters in California, nothing will. Because I'm telling you, that is an eye-opening book, and he goes after Republicans and Democrats. He's not attacking one or the other.
Yep.
But if you see how much communist China has a hold of this country through people like Schiff, through people like AOC, through people like Bernie Sanders and Gavin Newsom. So I mean, you could just go out and get excerpts of it, and it's scary. I mean, it really is.
That just come out in last year in 2023.
Yeah,
it did.
It came. Yeah, it's a newer book.
I just I haven't been able to just sit down and read a book because I've been on the campaign night and day. But I will read it now.
It's very eye opening.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you for the reminder.
Yeah.
Okay.
Denise, let's give you the last word before we have you back again, because we will when we have a little bit longer time, or we just.
We got a lot we got to get done this year.
About U.S. foreign policy and what it should look like.
Go ahead. Yep.
Because ISIS is now taking hold of Afghanistan.
Yep.
About them together with the Taliban and the horrific brutality against women and children and animals. Oh my God!
And look at the military equipment they have as well.
Yes, just when I think about human beings, I mean they'll crucify a child.
Yep, they will.
They have no problem torturing children to death, burying them alive. I mean, this is what the Democrats have reintroduced on our planet.
Yep.
Is a reconstituted ISIS.
Yep. Unbelievable.
Tortures children to death. Hamas tortures children to death. ISIS tortures children to death. And Biden is out there criticizing a fellow leader of the free world, Benjamin Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel.
Just did it.
Him a hard time over wanting to make sure that that Hamas leadership is completely wiped out. If I were Benjamin Netanyahu, I'd get on the phone to Biden and I'd say, not till every single American and Israeli citizen is returned to their home countries,
Mm-hmm.
I am not stopping this war.
Yep.
They
Agreed.
give back our innocent civilians that were just living their life,
Yep.
or
That's
this
right.
war goes on.
Mm-hmm.
That's the price they'll pay. Hello.
Mm-hmm.
Is it that difficult?
Yeah. My God. Yeah. You make too much sense to be really senator from California. You need to really come. That's just too much sense. It's too much common sense and too much backbone and too much about America first and too much knowledge. They can't have that in their establishment.
Well, why do we think we left troops? We left a group of troops, not a lot, some in Syria and Iraq, because ISIS had developed a caliphate, an entire state in part of northeast Syria and northwest Iraq, right? Had a whole caliphate. And now they're establishing it in Afghanistan. And what do you think the odds are that we're going to be attacked here on the home front again?
Oh, it's a matter of when, not even if. It's a matter.
And I have a
when.
feeling, and Dale and I both have this conspiracy theorist train of thought here, that if Trump looks like he's going to win the election, something's going to happen before the election.
He's got to win. Let's pray.
We do.
But there's a lot of people out there that are fighting for him not to, and so I pray for his safety all the time, every day.
Campaigning for him. If anybody would like to donate to me, GoPandol.com. Call me for a speaking engagement. I'd love to talk to people throughout California and across the country.
Absolutely. We will make sure that they do that. Denice, as always, a pleasure to speak with you. We love talking to you.
Del and Jim. Thank you so much.
And we appreciate your time and your continued fight. Yes, please go support her. We'll put all the information up and we'll keep pushing it. And we will talk very soon, I promise you.
Thank you.
We need to keep updating. This is important.
Important
stretch, and we need to get out. So
you're the best. Thanks, Denice. We'll talk soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Denice, thank you so much again for appearing on the show and for the shout out too on Facebook. We really do appreciate it. She's a wonderful person to talk to. And she's got the inside scoop there in California and all things that are going on there. And great ideas, but hence hopefully the new Republican National Committee members and those in charge will finally back her towards whatever her next step is in life. She's talked about maybe a seat there in the California House or something, but all that takes money and she needs backing to do that, I clearly understand that we ourselves, can't afford to throw money all that way and all that. But, if you're listening in California, if you know people out there, send them to her website, make sure they donate and still today donate, because she's still fighting for not just California, but America in general. So she's a great person and just absolutely a great person. So,
and she's actually going around helping.
She is. She's going
Steve
around
Garvey.
helping.
She's going around helping him because she understands that though her ways would have been better,
way better.
But
Steve
we need
Garvey's
to try
a
to
better
help.
choice than Adam Schiff.
Exactly. And if you look at recent polling,
it's
Garvey's pulling ahead of him
that way.
Which I have a feeling the book Blood Money, I really do. I have a feeling that the timing of that book with Adam Schiff running for governor was probably not good timing for him. Because this guy is definitely in China's pocket.
Definitely.
Okay. So now Steve Garvey could be too. I don't know. I have no idea, because we do know there are Republicans. Okay.
We do.
But real quick, and just keep in mind, and because we talked to Denice a little bit about this, when you have a congressman, senator, or any kind of politician who talks about the issues in this country, like fentanyl, like those little clips that go on guns to make, if they don't say China, if they don't say we have to punish China, we have to go after China for doing this, then they are somehow getting money from a company who, if you trace it close enough,
is going to be
China.
Is going to be
okay.
affiliated.
So keep that in mind. And it's very important because you hear it all the time. You hear them say, man, we got to stop fentanyl. We got to stop it. But there's nothing about closing the border. There's nothing about punishing China, who's sending it cheap to the cartels in Mexico, who's making it to come to the United States.
Yep.
Read all the generals that were in China. Read it. How to defeat your enemy without firing a shot.
Yep, exactly.
They're doing it.
They're doing
every step of the way in this country.
They are, Jim. Jim, thank you for your contribution again. Thank you, Denice, for your continued fight and for coming on the show. Good friend of the show, good friend to us, and we really appreciate her, and we are cheering her on. That's for sure.
Yes.
Jim, like, follow, share on Rumble, right? That's what people need to do.
Or share, like, and follow.
Or share, like, and follow. Don't forget about our friends at the Warrior Shield Foundation, Lock and Load Coffee, Grit Gear, Freedom Ring Apparel. Don't forget about those folks. Please support them. Remember, the Warrior Shield Weekend or Warrior Weekend is coming up in Orlando. Those tickets will be on sale soon. We'll post everything here so you can find them and see what you got to do to get on board there. It goes to a great cause. Look them up, Warrior Shield Foundation. Look up Sub-Zero Mission. Look up those folks. Really clothing vets across this country who are just absolutely homeless and sleeping out in the cold, who need our help, and
but illegals
are taking over hotel rooms. Correct. So this is why that fight's important. So remember that, folks. Jim, I got to run, my friend. Anything else to add to this show?
Nope.
Okay. Well, sorry for all the foo bars at the beginning. Hey, it's just what I do. Anyways, thanks, folks. We appreciate your support, and we'll talk to you all next week. See you, Jim.
All right. Goodbye.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Two Guys, One Coup podcast with Dale and Jim. Remember, you can watch on YouTube and Rumble and listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. And if you like what you hear, go ahead and give us a 5-star review. We really appreciate it, and it helps others find us when searching for podcasts. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and TikTok. Just search for Two Guys, One Coup. That's the number 2, guys, and the number 1, Coup, C-O-U-P. Thanks again for listening to the Two Guys, One Coup podcast, and God bless the United States of America.